Good evening. Are we on, Dan? Yeah, thank you, Dan, as always. Good evening. Congratulations, happy promotion, and welcome to edition 177 of the PinkUn Show, our dedicated Canary shenanigans that is once again, and only ever by association, Premier League. I am Michael Bailey. We are back at the Departure Lounge on Prince of Wales Road in central Norwich, and we are live and of course sober. Coming up, promotion, Premier League, Pookie, plus we take you through the wider championship picture and host the latest round of Flip the Bird, and we will do all of this in the company of tonight's star turns. They are Press Association sports journalist Jim van Wijk and debutant the Norfolk Sonic, aka Kieran, but I'll let you decide who is who. Gentlemen, I think Sonic was clearly male. Well, not clearly male. Let's not get stuck into that. How are you both? Well, we'll see if the volume works on Kieran first. Sonic, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I'm really glad that we finally got over the line, because now it's a party atmosphere, and I'm really excited to see what Premier League has to hold.
Exactly, and said as this is going to be quite the night. Jim, how are you?
Well, I don't really know how to follow that, Michael. Really, I think, good. I think it's been a long while coming, isn't it? This season, the finishing line's been in sight for a long while, but to actually finally get over that, was there at Carrow Road on Saturday, and it was a fantastic occasion, and you sort of see how much it meant to all of the players and all of the fans, and the reaction since then has been fantastic for the whole county, really.
Has indeed. We are in our high spirits, we should say. We are also here with the Canaries Trust, who are having a bit of an end of season, promotion shindig, if you like, so no doubt we'll be hearing from them over the course of the evening as well. As usual, I believe we are live on PinkUn.com, on the PinkUn Facebook page, hopefully. Tony's nodding, that's good. Twitter, Periscope and YouTube. And over the course of the show, we want to hear from you, of course, be it on the player you love the most out of this lot, your tales from Saturday night celebrations, we would definitely want to hear those, but especially your moment of the season, just one, the one you always think about when you think about this season, and of course the more random the better. All you need to do is post your words below the live PinkUn Facebook feed, YouTube chat box, or reply on the PinkUn Twitter and Periscope streams, and I'll do my best to keep track of them all. We are of course back with Wesley Moulahan as well. You'll notice I'm in a Norwich shirt from this season, which is not a usual setting for me. It's a while since I had a shirt, and if you just have a look at the back, can we do this? Are you alright, Dan? You can't really move, can you? You can see on the back of the shirt, PinkUn 19. Can you see that? You sure? Not that I'm trying to linger. There we go. That was a gift to the show. Did we get it? You're just both laughing. We got it. Happy enough. Whatever. A present to the show from Ben Kensel, Norwich City Chief Operating Officer. So fair play to Mr. Kensel. I'm not sure David McNally ever would have given us a shirt for anything we did. So and of course these are heady days. So huge congratulations to everyone involved at the football club, Ben included. Thank you for the shirt. We'll maybe use it in the set come next season or whichever, when we think of something exciting to do with it once I've washed it, because it's probably going to smell by the end of this show. Anyway, Wesley Moulahan has had one too many nights sleeping in a field. Onel Hernandez has been burning the candle at both ends, but the professionals that they are, both have made it in for this week's Norwich City headlines. That's going to send some dogs loopy. We are Premier League. Well, what more do we need to say? Drink it in, people. Pookie party time. Timu named player of the season after phenomenal campaign. I think we'd all hug him right now, here, if he was here. Not sure how much he'd like all that, mind, but there we go. Mario! That was the noise Dave Freezer made next to me in the press box on Saturday as he watched Vrancic's stunner swerve and fly into the top corner. What a goal it was to seal promotion. The man himself later told me it was lucky. Yeah, as if. No man has been more efficient with his minutes than the best looking man in Norfolk. Just 1 point. That's all it will take for the championship title at Villa Park. Maybe not even that. Then Bank Holiday Monday's parade can come with added silverware just in time for Wes versus Russ in the afternoon. Will the party ever stop? And finally, purely academy, doesn't work. Well done, Adam Ida and Jay Stowe Smith, who picked up the club's top awards for their work inside Colney and City's development squads. That was because City celebrated with a first Academy Awards dinner last night, and enough was said over the evening to make the commitment that the progression of young players at Norwich City will not be stopping just because of promotion to the Premier League. Well done, Steve Weaver, and everyone working so hard for the Canaries' next generation. Beautiful work, Jim. Top stuff. I don't think we've stirred many people, and the Norfolk Sonic is still with us, because I was a little bit worried he'd roll into a ball and roll off. Here we go then. How is this ranking in your Norwich supporting lives? Sonic, where does this stand in all the Norwich City stuff you've seen?
Oh, for me, this is definitely top, because I didn't really feel like this during the Alex Neil's days. I was always a bit pessimistic going into the playoffs on that one, and to be honest, it ended on a sour note really with Alex Neil. But this is probably the most exciting season I've seen watching Norwich, and and I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Premier League holds for this team, because the world's at their oyster at the moment, in my opinion.
It's written all over your face as well, Sonny, so that's the best thing. Jim, how about you? I'm Kieran's a little bit younger than you, so what do you reckon?
Well, I think I have to say probably of all the promotions to the Premier League, that we've had with Nigel Worthington and then with the achievement that Paul Lambert, I think this probably for me ranks up there the best of the lot, just purely because of the way he's gone about it. Paul Lambert had momentum from their successive promotions, and the football they played was fantastic as well. But just for Daniel Farke, who, let's face it, the jury was out for a very long time, to actually deliver Premier League football, and against a backdrop of everyone else, the teams that they're competing against, and on the budget that he's done, and to produce those players, to produce that, as Mick Dennis, a good friend of the show, obviously, said this is some of the most exciting football that he's seen in 30 years at Carrow Road. And I think that is going to be the testament of this season. Obviously, it's going to step up a bit next year, and to see what they can do against a higher calibre opponent. But to watch it home and away, it's just been fantastic, and great credit to Daniel and all of the squad, really.
I mean, I've had fans come up to me who've been watching the club far more than all of us put together, saying exactly the same things, which is just phenomenal, given, I guess, the rebuild we all thought they were going to do. I mean, I spent 12 months trying to knock everyone's expectations down, because no one, I think, really thought that they could remove the players and sell the players that they did and lose that quality and let's still compete in this way.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a big loss losing the likes of James Maddison and Josh Murphy in the previous years, but it feels different this time, because unlike trying to get a player and fill it around the system, which in many previous years we've got players who have fitted right into the system and what Daniel Farke wants to play, and it's not like a one-man team. It's more in general like more of a team spirit and more of a team effort this time round, which makes it a lot more special.
I love that Sonic is so articulate about Norwich City Football Club. I can't get my head around it. It's brilliant. Those Blackburn scenes, Jim, where do they rank for you? Because it was special to see, but I guess it's a bit different to a playoff final. It's not quite as euphoric, because you kind of know what's going to happen, and you almost feel that relief more than everything, because we've been waiting for this for weeks.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, and the dip in form as well. I think that was partly down to the nerves of the young squad. Obviously, a lot of players had not been there before, and it was just about getting that over the line. But I was talking with some of the Trust guys before about how actually those results, that point at Wigan was actually not a bad point if you look at it, but probably the one which you thought should have got the job done was the Reading game, and I think for me probably the moment I actually believed the team would go on and win promotion was when they came back and that Zimmerman goal. But just to see what it means to everyone, and with the family atmosphere and the children coming on the pitch as well afterwards, that was a really special moment. And obviously it's a new generation now, and a new generation of fans. It's the first time my son is really getting into football, and you can just see it around the schools here. Everyone is now going around, instead of going around in Manchester City and Chelsea shirts. You're seeing more and more Norwich shirts now, and it's just going to be fantastic for this next generation to grow up and have something to remember about what this Norwich team have achieved.
100%. 59 years to the day it was on Saturday that Norwich last won and only previously won promotion at home at Carrow Road. That is 59 years to the day. I think when I realised that on Saturday morning, I was like, well, okay, this is going to happen. So remarkable coincidence. How did you celebrate it all, Sonic / Kieran?
Well, sadly I wasn't at the ground, sadly. It would have been amazing to have been there and been in the middle of the celebrations, but luckily I was at home with my family watching it. When that Blackburn goal went in, I was a little bit nervy watching it and was kind of worrying it would be same old, obviously doing it the hard way, but before time whistle went, just euphoric I felt, and ironically I was speaking with my girlfriend who lives in Germany around the time, and she was following all the games with me this season, and she was just as happy for me, so it's a really good feeling when we finally got it over the line.
Fantastic. Do you do any spins or rings, ring catching? What did Sonic do? I can't remember. Ring catching, rings, jumping, any of that stuff?
I may have done a jump in celebration, but
knee slides. I don't know if Sonic did those, but anyway, yeah. Moving on. All hail Mario Vrancic. I've written here. Mentioned it there, of course. Just phenomenal the way he's stepped up in such few minutes. The amount of points you could probably attribute to Mario Vrancic is on a different level to anyone else. But there we go. Get your comments and questions in. We're asking for your moment of the season, your favourite moment of the season. It doesn't have to be an obvious one. We just want to hear what it is. We'll rattle through some of these comments as well, and I'll keep a hold of them. Danny Ellero, hi all, we are Premier League. Roger Mallet, hello my fellow friends from Florida. Hope it's nice and sunny in Florida. Roger, it's nice and sunny here too, so that is good. Callum Mitchell, we are Premier League. Tone 007, Premier High Fives all round, OTBC. I don't know what a Premier High Five is, Tone, but I'll take one. That's all good. Tobias Patterson, is that Marco Stiepermann under the Sonic suit? Poor lad is probably still drunk. Are you Marco Stiepermann?
A little bit short. It's a little bit short for that.
Yeah, it could be slouching. Maybe we'll find out later. There's a teaser for you. Norfolk Gal, hello, fellow Yellows from sunny Norwich. Thank you for the hearts. Norfolk Gal, much appreciated, and other stuff there, so we'll catch through on some of those. That's on YouTube. Thanks for watching on YouTube. Keep them all coming. I will rattle through them all. Over on Facebook, John King, we are Premier League. Indeed we are, John. Michael Garwood, Michael Wood commenting on the fact my sleeves. I didn't appreciate the sleeves were going to be quite the shirt on the short on the shirt. So apologies about that. I'm deliberately sort of cowering under the weight of this shirt, of course, which carries such wonderful connotations this year. Keep those comments coming in, preferably not on my attire, and we'll go through as many of those as we can, which is all good. Neil Austin finally. Oh, he's saying some nice stuff. Thank you, Neil. Yeah, that's lovely of you. We, of course, had lots of time covering the game on Saturday. Brilliant. Keep those coming in, especially your moment of the season. That's what I want to know. I'll have a think about mine. Gents, have a think about your moment of the season too. There is just one game week left to play, of course, out in the Championship, and just the odd issue still to resolve. So here is the Championship picture, guys. You can have a look there. Sheffield United cruised past Ipswich to effectively book their promotion before Norwich confirmed theirs with victory over Blackburn. Derby won a crucial top six clash at Bristol City, and Rotherham's fate was sealed at the Hawthorns. I'm not drunk. There was plenty of fun and games at Elland Road come Sunday, while Derby can all but confirm their playoff berth with victory at Swansea tonight, which is of course Wednesday night. Bolton's financial crisis finally is spilling onto the pitch as their unpaid players went on strike, forcing their game with Brentford to be postponed. How things resolve from here is still unclear, but it is almost certain not to include their season's results being expunged. I think. Let's hope so. There was not a single change in position in the bottom half, which was kind of remarkable last weekend. While the trio set for League One is also confirmed. Meanwhile, Luton and Barnsley confirmed their automatic promotion back to the Championship. Mad Hatters indeed. What a time for Cameron McGeehan. Brentford will have to wait and see what happens to their postponed fixture with Bolton. As for the pointy end, the top two are up and the equation for who wins the title is clear. Villa's playoff berth isn't confirmed but is effectively sealed, with all eyes on Derby tonight to see if they can follow suit. Villa will finish 5th, which may do Norwich a favour on Sunday. Huddersfield and Fulham have already been relegated from the Premier League, while Cardiff seems set to follow suit, although anything's possible. They will hope. The lunchtime finale sees City head to Villa Park, hoping for just 1 point. The Blades have to win at Stoke to stand any chance of the title themselves. Both promoted sides have spent most of the week celebrating, so it should make for a curious afternoon. Leeds head to Ipswich to say goodbye to their hosts, while Bolton are scheduled to play at the City Ground, but it may not happen. Middlesbrough and Bristol City will be hoping their final fixtures have something riding on them, otherwise the pair could have a long summer on their respective hands. Let's get a bit of title talk out of the way. It seems to matter to me maybe more than some people. I really want it to happen. PinkUn Sonic, how do you feel about it? Would Norwich winning the title, do you actually care?
To be honest, I'm 50-50 if we get it, to be honest. I'm not too disappointed if we don't get it, because I think it's pretty obvious no one at the start of the season even thought we were going to be in the position that we are with one game to go. Most people from memory thought we probably weren't even going to be in with a mix of even getting in the top 6, let alone at the top. But it would be nice to do it. I think probably it'll be a case of who's the most sober after the weekend, especially based on Chris Wilder's interview. But yeah, I think we can do it. And to be honest, it doesn't faze me in either way, because it's been a fantastic season.
I mean, I probably have a personal interest in this because I happened to be in India when Norwich won it in 2004. So in my lifetime, I haven't seen that I can remember at Norwich winning a championship. And I don't know, there's just something about it in terms of history, the longevity of winning something as opposed to just automatic promotion. It does linger.
Well, let's not forget it's the same trophy, the old Football League Championship trophy. So there's a lot of history behind that. It's not going to be easy going to Aston Villa and getting a point, but you would think that the circumstances of last weekend, and as you said there with Aston Villa now, pretty much being in 5th, and maybe they might have their eyes on sort of the playoff game and maybe rotate things a little bit. But whatever happens, it's been a fantastic achievement for Norwich to finish in the top 2, and it would be the icing on the cake to go and then give everyone on Monday something to celebrate extra with the trophy, and that's kind of what you want, really, isn't it? I think that's what the players want. I think Jamal Lewis was saying afterwards, now seeing all of this and what it means to the fans to get promoted. For us, for players now, we want to go and we want to get that. And at your end of your career, you look back on your winners' medals, don't you? And that's really what Norwich want to deliver now.
2 best teams in the division?
I think so. I think you've got to give great credit to Sheffield United. You may not be a big fan of the football they play, or particularly of the manager's approach. I thought he was very magnanimous in his post promotion interviews and discussed the issues he'd had with Norwich, which are well documented. But credit to Sheffield United, they looked well out of it, didn't they? Everybody seemed to think it was between Norwich and Leeds. Leeds have also played some fantastic football as well this season. Let's not forget that. I mean, Norwich and Leeds have arguably played the best football in the division, but Sheffield United just didn't go away, did they? And they've really ground it out, and I think defensively as well they've been a really solid unit, certainly more than we have, which has been our Achilles heel at times this season.
I'm sure Norwich will try and improve that next year if they can. Sheffield United have been phenomenal second half of the season, especially just the way they've accumulated points has been absolutely nuts. Playoffs, who do you reckon is going to do that? Because I mean, Villa will be most people's favourites probably.
Yeah, and personally they're my favourites. They're probably going into this with the most momentum, but obviously Leeds want a bit of redemption considering the circumstances of what happened on Sunday with Patrick Bamford and everything. What he did was absolutely disgusting in my opinion. But yeah, that would really set it up for an interesting tie. But it's going to be really intriguing who gets that 6th spot.
I love that. Hashtag LUFC, Sonic slams Bamford. Disgusting. Get that on your Twitter, Leeds fans. It's all part of the conspiracy. I'm only joking. It's all right. Don't take it to heart. Ipswich, I feel like we should mention them because we're not obsessed, but it's just like it's part of the deal, isn't it? When people joke at the start of every football season, Norwich are going to finish top of it. and Ipswich bottom. That's what Norwich fans want from each season, isn't it? Effectively, or is it? Am I being? I mean, it's a bit nuts what's happened down there. And to be honest, from the Sheffield United game at the weekend, it looks like they've got a hell of a lot of work to do to challenge next year.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think Ipswich. Look, they knew where they were. They knew what they were doing under Mick McCarthy, but for whatever reason they weren't happy with that, and they wanted to go for a sea change, a bit like I guess what Crystal Palace tried to do, and when they brought in De Boer, and just go for someone completely different and something completely new, and it didn't work, and it didn't stick with it. But whether, as Norwich fans, whether we like to admit it or not, the infrastructure is there, the fan base is there for Ipswich to be, challenging in the certainly in the top half of the Championship, and sustainability in the Premier League. But there's a lot of changes now behind the scenes that's going to go through that club, and whether Paul is there next season to try and take him forward, they've got a lot really of work to do before they can think about going up, and I guess really it comes down to be careful what you wish for. I think as Big Mick reflected, because in his own inimitable way, but but it is what it is, and there won't be an East Anglian derby for a little while yet, which is a bit of a shame. But let's hope. One day eventually it comes back in the Premier League rather than in the Championship.
They've got in the Norwich City Club shop. They've got some items that they're going to auction. They're not for sale. They're just sat behind the desk. If you go to the club shop at Carrow Road, you'll see them. And there's one of them, Emiliano Buendia, his shirt from the game, and then there's a little bit of text on it, which includes the words dominance and drubbing, which I think was official club merchandise. Fair play. That's what I say, fair play. A few messages then, shall we? Neil Austin, one moment that sticks in my mind was Leeds away, our second goal, a stunned silence around Ellen Road, and delayed disbelief from the Norwich fans, and effectively still waiting for that to be proven offside, which of course it wasn't. That was a phenomenal moment. I like that. James Rushmore, hello from Newcastle. Looking forward to seeing Norwich play up here next year in the Prem. Absolutely. Hope there's some atmosphere this time around, James. Been a bit quiet on my other visits to St James's Park. Tony's a closet Newcastle fan, but we won't hold it against him. Edward Ivans, this is on Facebook. City have been outstanding. Saturday was unbelievable. I felt such a good attitude. The team deserve to win the league on Sunday. I'm sure they will be well up for it. Daniel Farker and Stuart Webber have done a brilliant job. Trevor Murray Ashby, the turnaround with NCFC was my favourite moment, which is fair enough. What a turnaround indeed. And Ben Trafford, Norwich 2,500 to 1 to win the Premier League next season on Sky Bet. Worth a quid with this lot, right? I tell you what, weren't Leicester 4,000 to 1? I mean 5,000 to 1. I mean, are Norwich twice as likely as Leicester were that season to win? Yeah. Thanks, Leicester. So there we go. Brilliant. Keep your messages coming in, as I said, especially your moment of the season. That's what I want to know. Twitter, Facebook, Periscope, where YouTube, wherever you're watching, get those comments in. So, Saturday was special, don't know if you heard. And we got to speak to a lot of people about it, of course. Here's the pick of the reaction from some of the key protagonists, and I think Tony has put me in it too.
I think that was just amazing, really amazing, and they deserved it because the supporters have been absolutely incredible this season, as they always are, and they deserve it. So good on them that it happened for them here.
I always said, I think I said when we appointed him, we got the best coach in the league. Nothing's ever changed my mind on that. And even last season, if we look at the work he did, every single day was incredible, and we're extremely fortunate to have him, and it was great. We've got him tied down to a long contract because, like the players, I'm sure he'll be sought after, and there'll be people glancing over now, having a little look. But one thing with him, he's committed to the cause, and he's been a breath of fresh air for us, and we're really fortunate to have him, and hopefully he'll be here for a long time.
We were hoping for a top 10 finish and to be in the top 2 from November. It's been some journey. We've had some amazing nights at this stadium, some crazy nights, some massive ups and downs, but what a club, what a city, the whole place is buzzing. We've got such a young, talented group. We're so tight together, it's amazing, and yeah, what a journey.
Today we knew it's about the time to do it at home in front of our own fans, who've been amazing this season, and and gave us so much support.
I was already planning for the life after football or without football, because it didn't really seem to be that likely to still become a professional at the age of 24. I remember a good friend texted me after I signed for Norwich saying that this must feel to you like winning the lottery, and it did. So not just playing here, but playing that much and now making it to the Prem is way more than that, and way more than I expected, and as I said, that I ever dreamt of. So call it a miracle, fairy tale, a wonder whatsoever. I think all those definitions might be right.
Yeah, I think every one of a Norwich City Persuasion just says a monumental thank you to the squad, the players, the management, the staff, everyone who's got players fit, and seeing them over the line, because to see these scenes and what this club has done in the last 6 to 8 months, I think that will live in all of our memories and hearts for a very long time to come.
You know, we've got some incredible staff who are ridiculously committed, who love dearly this club and working in this industry and work hours and put themselves on the line. We've got players that are the same, and even if you look at players in the squad, like Ivo Pinto, who's hardly kicked a ball, he's there every training session, giving everything, helping Max Aarons, making him a better player, and I think that's the key. If you get everyone working like that, and so yeah, it is achievable, because everything's achievable, and like I say, I wouldn't have come here if I didn't truly believe that we could get this club back to the Premier League.
The fact that everybody is gelling together, I mean, even you guys, we're all of us now, really on the same sheet, and that unity in sport is what I think will win. And it's not going to be easy. We've got to live with losing 7 games in a row, maybe. We have to live with those things. But if we stick together and we stick to this unity and this humility and, you know, not keeping our feet on the ground, watch this space.
You can catch all the full reaction over on the PinkUn YouTube channel, PinkUn.com. You know where it is, all is by now. It's all there, and there's some brilliant stuff, of course. What did you guys make? Well, I'll tell you what, we've got Martin, who's from the Canaries, Canaries Trust member, former journalist, apparently, you were saying, Martin?
And a former journalist, indeed. I was once sports editor of the Harlow Gazette.
Wow, I love that. 10 points, that's brilliant. Big read, yeah, I'm sure it was. What did you make of what was said after all the scenes on Saturday and everything from all the players and everyone? Everyone's obviously euphoric at it all.
Euphoric is the word. I was utterly delighted. I've been probably one of the major shareholders' biggest critics in the past, but the advent of Tom Smith and the decision of Ed Balls to appoint Stuart Webber, who in turn appointed Daniel Farker and his wonderful team, I couldn't be more made up.
I mean, as you said, if you're being critical of other regimes, do you kind of have trust in this one and what they can do going forward?
I think we all do, we all have to, and the one thing that's really impressed me is the way that, like, with the ACN, Barclay and Norwich initiatives, we're just one nation at the moment, and I sincerely hope that goes on into the PL. I really do, and I believe it will.
I think that's got to be a concerted effort from everyone, hasn't it? Because we know it's not going to be quite straightforward in the Premier League. As you'll see, the Norfolk Sonic has just given himself a rest. It's Kieran's face. Well done, Kieran. Top work. What I did want to ask you all was your hero of the season. I mean, it could be obvious, could not be obvious, but Kieran, who's your hero of the season just gone?
Well, I could run off a list, honestly. There's been so many players this season that have really shone for Norwich. I mean, you've got Pukki, Emi Buendia, so many others. I wouldn't say it's actually a player, though. I'd actually say it would be Stuart Webber. Because he could have easily, when we were going bad at the start of the season, could have easily listened to the whispers going around from the fans and, well, some fans, and possibly got rid of Daniel Farker and restarted his whole entire restructuring of the club. But he stuck by him, and I'm glad about that, because as a result, we've really reaped the benefits of that, and Farker's really changed what was going on at the start of the season, and look at what's happened to us now. So,
I mean, there are a lot of clubs who would have made a change at the start of this season, probably during last season as well, Jim. Did you want them to make the change? Did you, Jim? Did you?
I was very much in the jury out column. I always said, we need to give him at least two full seasons to see how things were going. But at the start of the season, didn't really look too clever, did it, with everything? But he finally moulded the squad, and I think what was key is you don't ever want to use the word dead wood, but I will use that. He transformed the squad, and he changed the players that didn't want to buy in to the new system, and the gegenpressing system, which was so effective at Dortmund, and to a certain degree, he's developed Norwich as a Dortmund light, as a Liverpool light, if you like, and just trying to get the players who will fit into that system, and it's been that system which has been so effective, which has just worn teams down. And the amount of possession that Norwich have had, and the amount of the other teams that have had to chase the game all of the time, and he's been behind that, and he's also blooded youngsters, which other managers would have probably said. I think we all, when you saw the team sheet, Max Aaron's what's he doing in the side, and yet he's kept faith with them when it would have been very easy to say no, I don't want those involved. I want to have more experienced players, but. The way he's moulded the side together, and that team ethic, as you said, Martin, it's just brought everyone together, the city, the county, everyone united, and it's just been a momentum now moving forward into the Premier League.
Is he your hero, or is there someone else?
No, I think there's it's been a real collective effort, but I just wanted to highlight one player, and obviously the contribution of PinkUn, Bendia and Vantage has been mentioned, but Tim Krul. I read an interview with him when he was at Newcastle, and he said he was in a very dark place there, and he didn't really know where his career was going. And he has been a real solid influence, an experienced influence. This is a man who's played in the World Cup, in the World Cup semi-final, and involved in the Dutch squad that went all the way. And yes, he drops a little few clangers, and when the ball's going back to him, it's kind of heart in the mouth moment. But the way he's managed to hold all of the team together, and if you see some of his social media posts, and the way he's been involved in all of that, and the fines with the washing the manager's car, so I think he deserves a great deal of credit for being a calming influence and being so influential in the dressing room, and that's probably why they've not gone out and sort of look to make another signing in the goalkeeper department. So I wouldn't be surprised if he was there again, number one next season. Could be a very busy man, I suspect.
Which he did accept, and he's kind of looking forward to it because he hasn't had so many saves to make this year. But phenomenal
but like any goalkeeper, he does have those moments. But you've got to love him for and the way he's reacting with the crowd, and getting everyone to pull together.
He is a brilliant character. I'd say that from having spoken to him a few times. He's a top character, and you can see why he has that important influence over the team. The other thing I'll say, there was a sky graphic of Norwich's Premier League experience. There was a lot of zeros, and then 157, which was Tim Krul, and that's clearly going to be important come next season. Who's yours, Martin? Your hero this season?
My hero this season will be revealed. My comment about Tim Krul is that you are so totally correct. Not only does he conduct the back four, he also conducts the Barclay Choir, and he also manages to wind up the River End to get a bit of oomph from there. Sorry, I'm a Barclay boy through and through, but I have been in the River End on occasions. Okay, Michael, my hero is Christoph Zimmermann.
A Christoph miracle. Now, come on, that was a good pun.
It was a good headline in one of your articles earlier. No, I'm a massive fan of somebody like Christoph, who can come from the fourth tier of the Bundesliga. In fact, that tier I don't believe is even actually directly in the Bundesliga.
It's regional as well.
I guess so. I'm not sure, but he's led by example. He's having his captain's armbands auctioned off by the club, and I know all that money's going to good causes. He is my hero.
Top man.
He almost left the game as well. He was training to become a teacher. And he talked about that in his post-match interview with Chris Gorham. And it's been amazing the way he's been able to marshal that defence, because they're so young, they're so inexperienced. but I do think that is where they're going to need some help next season.
He's 4 years older than either Max, Jamal and Ben. And what a job he has done. But he couldn't have done it without Tim Krul, in my opinion.
Yeah. And the surprising thing for me is that he's actually only missed, 120 minutes of Championship football since they beat Middlesbrough at home. I had it in my head he'd come in a lot later.
Really, Tim, that's Tim Close's role, isn't it? In there, you would expect he'd be the one with the experience and bring that. But Zimmerman's form meant Closer, when he is fit, has not been able to get back into the heart of the defence, which is
basically. Who again? I mean, I've had one crack at a hero already, but there's so many of them. But I would also put Ben Godfrey in that category, because for a centre half to bring the ball out so well, and he's always up with an attack if we need it. He's almost like an auxiliary midfielder, and absolute respect to the guy.
I mean, I remember asking Daniel Farker when Ben came in whether he saw him as a holding midfielder, and that was when we got the unequivocal, I see him as the potential to be a world-class centre-back, which I wasn't really expecting. But as soon as Ben came into the team, he's just looked phenomenal. You'd never call for Tim Closer to come back in because he was so comfortable and confident. Exactly. Martin, thank you so much. I'm going to let you go if that's all right, because we're going to get some of the other Canaries Trust guys in. So thank you so much. Go and have your beer. It's all right for some, isn't it? We're all on water. Pleasure, Martin. What a top man. Let's go through some of your messages, shall we? Because I fear I've neglected you for a little bit. We had a lot of people's favourites moments for the season, so let's get through these if we can. Canaries. Moment of the season, Boxing Day equaliser at home to Forest. I spat my false teeth out, stood on them, oh God, and ended up with a £240 bill from the dentist. Who cares? That's the spirit. Brilliant stuff. Sophie Linney, really glad there was no pitch invasion. It meant we all got to share the raw emotion of the players at the moment they realised what they had achieved. Great stuff, Sophie. Sophie Lenny, not Leany. Pretty sure that's right. Can't remember what she told me now. Let's have a look. Liam Winnell, will we upload City Sights for the game against Blackburn, please? I love the City Sights videos. Liam, I don't know how much Tony's paid you, but he's beaming at it, and I'm sure we'll get that uploaded for you. Timothy Cook, can you make this daily, please? Oh my God, what, the show? Oh God, no, I would die. That would be far too much work, Tim, but we'll do our best, and we'll be back, of course, next year, 24-hour PinkUn Show. Just all seasons. We never stop. Live, I'm asleep. Amazing. Danny Ellero. Hey, Timothy, why not? Danny Ellero. A moment of the season was taking my niece to her first ever Norwich game away at Rotherham and making a supporter out of her. Brilliant stuff, Danny. Canaries. Hope Jim is warmer than when you were outside a sinkhole in Rouen Road. I made him bring his coat and scarf just in case we changed our plans tonight. And then the other time we brought you on was at Carrow Road. Right. You kept missing out on the pub.
That's it. I know. Well,
I mean, we're not in a pub now, admittedly. But
but it looks like they've got some nice coffee and maybe some sausage rolls a bit later on. You know, they might push the boat out for that. But
all it takes to get us in. So there we go. Now that name is in Russian. I don't know how to say it, but Norwich, my love club. Hello, Ukraine, Melitopol. Love it. Thanks for your support. Big in Ukraine. We are now big in global Canaries. It's the future now. Premier League. Tony Thrustle, moment of the season was Cheesegate, which is what happened at Redwell Brewery a few weeks ago. Swimming in a sea of cheese. Nathan Edwards, Paul Lambert, Canary Hall of Fame status confirmed, legendary. Debbie Hannah Reeve, nice to have you both on the show, Debbie Hannah. Steepleman's car valeting services showed the team spirit that was being created. It certainly did. What a great moment. I think you can read Dave Freezer asked Marco about that after the game on Saturday. Obviously, probably first question. You can read about his comments on that. Steve Richards' moment for him was Sky Sports News reacting to 3 home goals versus Nottingham Forest. I only watched the video of that a few weeks ago for all 3 goals. Bianca Westwood, absolutely brilliant. Mark Corbero, absolutely brilliant. Vaguely optimistic about next season. I think that's a good way of putting it. Pity the parade is 9 a.m. should be from midday. Well, don't know the reasons for that, but I think there's a meal to be had. Any more? Don't know what that is. Canaries. Cardiff away in the Cup was a game no one wanted, but it changed our season in a lot of ways. And NCFC 1902 reckons their moment of the season was seeing me drunk on Sunday night. I can assure you I definitely was not drunk because I had to get up and work a lot in the morning. Tired, Yes, definitely not drunk. There we go. So keep those coming in. Thanks to you guys on YouTube. Keep looking at those. I don't know why you were laughing, Tony. Keep them coming in. Right, I tell you what, let's raise the bar ourselves with another outing. Kieran's looking forward of this. Yes, it is Flip the Bird, the game that VAR wouldn't touch with a barge pole last time out. Fionn Thomas, the lovely Fionn, got a debut for. Good work, that. Paul McInnes, meanwhile, off of The Guardian, proved paternity leave isn't good for your Flip the Bird skills with an erratic 1. Fortunately, he did notch 3 earlier in the season, so his embarrassment was spared. But, he is a dad now, and I can appreciate that is hard work. So, tonight, both Jim van Wijk and the Norfolk Sonic Kieran make their Flip the Bird debuts. I don't know how they're feeling about that. I haven't spoken to them about it, but they did at least have a little bit of a rehearsal before we went online. So, in short, you guys have 30 seconds to flip as many bar mats as possible, adding 1 to your pile. With each successful one-handed flip, your scores will be collated, added to the scoreboard at the end, and then we'll take a picture and everyone will smile, and it will be great. In which case, are you ready? Dan, are you ready with the clock? Are you ready with your piles? You look far too calm for this.
I'm always ready with my piles, mate.
Go on then. Do you know what you're doing, Kieran?
Yeah, I got it.
I don't know if he knows. Dan, you ready?
Yeah. 3, 2, 1, go.
And away we go. Kieran's gone straight with the sort of upward floating technique, which is always all right with 1, but kind of gets difficult when you've got 2. Jim's doing it as well. I really need to start teaching people the technique before they start. Back of the hands, boys. Back of the hands. It's a slow going. As you can see, the crowd behind are not particularly fussed. And I'm struggling with commentary. It's been a long season. I'm going to start having to ask Stuart Hodge, some tips on commentating. I could do an impression of him, but that would be rude. Jim's ticking along nicely, though, which is remarkable given his technique.
1 and stop.
We've got piles, which is a good start and not something you always want to shout. Jim, how many you got?
What piles? 5. 5.
Kieran?
I got 3, and I think that's better than what I was expecting. So
Take it both, and you got a whole summer to work on your techniques. Well done. We'll take a picture, I think, at some point. In the meantime, should we run the sting again, Dan? Lovely. Well, that was a lot of drama. I don't know how many Flip the Birds we've got in us this year, but it'll certainly be too many. And of course, the
Just like fell on the floor, that was quite good, wasn't it? The old fell on the floor where you used to run around and do that. That was
dizzy penalty.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something we can bring back next year. We will work on what we do.
maybe try what they did on the training ground with the goalkeepers trampoline.
Yes, we tried that as well. That was really hard. Not doing that again. Let's have a small interlude, which is in no way funny, obviously. Dan, do you know what I mean? He looks ready.
¿Qué seriedad tiene su lesión y si va a estar presente para los playoffs?
Supuestamente va a poder estar disponible para el partido de Ipswich. Bueno, me doy por derrotado.
Okay, I give up.
Thanks, Dan, for the warning. Good man. There we go. Probably the epitome of Ipswich's season there, with Bielsa just saying, give up. Why not? That's the way to do it. Brilliant stuff. Well, as always, we get the guys in. It's always nice to have a little bit of a chat with them away from the talk of the football and maybe just have a little talk about themselves, so or at least around what they do. Jim, Press Association, which of course supplies stories and whatnot to a lot of the national and local media. Do you sense now that Norwich are back in the big time, that's going to up in terms of the national coverage to ridiculous levels?
Well, I think what everyone's going to find now is obviously everything that Norwich start to do as a football club is going to be just going to be amplified. I mean, you've seen it with Cardiff, you see it with Watford, with Brighton, with Wolverhampton. So that the spotlight is going to be very much on Norwich now. We've already seen it with the transfer mill rumour already starting about players who are coming in, players who are going out. But it's great for the city that there is going to be that media spotlight on now and everything really. And I think from the media side of it, what you guys are going to see is obviously at Colney you've been used to, one man and his dog turning up, but now with the Premier League, much more interest, and not only from the UK as well, but obviously especially with video clips nowadays. They're going to be going all around the world, and everything Daniel Farke and the Norwich players have to say is going to be magnified quite a bit, I would think.
Yes, indeed. And we've obviously had a bit of that with Finnish media, German media starting to pick up on things the last few months, but even a few years ago when Norwich in the Premier League, it was nuts. I think it's probably even on another level to that now already. Have you enjoyed watching the games as a fan? You've had sort of that experience more recently, haven't you? I mean, how does that rate compared to covering it? Which do you prefer?
Well, with Norwich's late shows this season, there'd have been a lot of delete, wouldn't there, and phoning the desk saying, "Yeah, my copy might be a little bit more delayed." But no, it's you kind of realise what made you fall in love with the game in the first place, when you've got all of this young side playing together and wanting to win together and playing some really fantastic football, and you can see how much it means to all of them, and I think that's going to be key to make the progress next season, provided they can get a little bit of help in a few key areas.
Brilliant stuff, Jim. Such a pleasure to have you indoors on the show, and more next year.
I would have done my hair if I'd have known that we were coming.
You always kept forgetting your hat, so at least you didn't need that.
Well, I brought one tonight, but just in case.
Well, Kieran did. So the Norfolk Sonic, Kieran. I guess what most people are thinking is, why have you got a Sonic the Hedgehog kit, which is mightily impressive, by the way?
Oh, thank you. Well, the reason being is that I've been cosplaying now for about a year and a half, and the main reason I got into it is because during school I was heavily bullied for being who I was. I have statement of educational needs, and I had to be shut away with special needs children for a lot of my lessons, and in lessons I were in with normal people, I got bullied massively for being just who I was, really. And when I left school, school really not like confidence. I was very nervous, like just going up to random strangers on the street, and I was always worried about people's first opinions of me. And obviously, I've been a massive Sonic fan all my life.
Yeah, who is it? As is Jim, by the way.
The first Sonic the Hedgehog, the Sega handheld, the game. I mean, that was, it's taken me back. And I think I have now hit the highlights of my media career, sitting live on Facebook next to the Norfolk Sonic. I mean, what is not to like about that?
We all love Sonic.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. Obviously, like I say, Sonic has been a big part of my life. You probably wouldn't go a centimetre of my room without seeing a single bit of Sonic merchandise. So I thought I put 2 + 2 together, and probably you don't see many. I've been to conventions a lot, and you don't see many people cosplaying as like Sonic characters. So I thought they're still advertised online. I thought I'd purchase it because it stands out from the crowd, and going to conventions and having like young children and just people in general coming up to me, talking to me, having normal conversations with me, and trying to act like Sonic has been a lot of fun. And if it wasn't for it, I probably wouldn't be here right now talking to you. I'd be so shy. So
it's so brilliant to have you on. And who knew Sonic was a Norwich City fan? I mean, I hope when you go to these conventions you still wear your scarf.
Of course. Well, ironically, my last convention was at Portman Road. My last
when?
End of December, just after they pointed Lambert. So
this guy, I love this guy. Absolutely phenomenal, Kieran. Now I have to say you are timing this very well, because there is a Sonic film coming out.
Yes.
I mean, literally, if anyone's watching this and they're like, "There's a Norfolk Sonic," hang on. This could be a big deal.
Premier, mate.
Yeah. Premier League Sonic.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously, seeing a trailer yesterday, it's not exactly the greatest of hype. It's a lot of negative hype about how Sonic looks in the movie, but there's a lot.
Have they sort of tied him up a bit?
They tried to make him look realistic, and it's
like an actual hedgehog.
Human hedgehog.
A human hedgehog.
And
oh God.
To be honest, it's kind of backfired. But then you see the cast list on it, and they've got Jim Carrey playing Dr. Eggman. And watching the trailer, I know who's going to absolutely smash it.
I love it. Well, to be fair, you look like the real Sonic, and that's the most important thing.
You know what to get me for Christmas now. So.
Kieran, thank you so much for coming on. Jim, of course, always a pleasure. Andy, get us another one. That's what I do. I just shout and he brings out people. It's amazing. In the meantime, there are a couple of things that we want to bring up. In fact, we've got an announcement, which is a little bit to do with... hello, sir. Come and sit down. We got a little bit of an announcement, a little bit of an exclusive for you. It is entitled... We can officially confirm, I should read this before, and exclusively reveal, here we go, that there will be a summer football competition right here in Norfolk to rival the Nations League. I don't think I'm building it up too much. Thanks, Jim. Yes. Saturday the 8th of June at The Nest, of course, which is in Horsford. There will be a six-a-side tournament, I think it's six-a-side, for all Norwich City supporter groups to enter, and it may be more openly available as well, depending on how things go. It's going to raise money for the community sports as the power gone for the community sport, raising money for the Community Sports Foundation's Build the Nest project. There will be playing and refereeing special guests on show. I like the idea of the celebrity referees. If I'm playing, I might give them some stick. I won't really, Mick Dennis, don't worry. Hopefully, teams from the Canaries Trust, Proud Canaries, Forces to Canaries, Along Come Norwich, Barclay M Project, Norwich City Fans Social Club, Capital Canaries, who we were of course at last week, German Canaries and Italian Canaries will take part, and there is room for any others out there who wish to join. Look out for the Community Sports Foundation, CSF, and Canaries Trust social posts during the week for details on how to get your team signed up. That is the Canary Cup, which is so exciting, June the 8th at The Nest. Get involved, give it a watch, it'll be lots of fun. Thank you, Jim, that's the kind of fanfare we needed. Exciting. Hello, sir.
Hello.
What's your name?
My name's Nick Buck.
Hello, Nick. Sorry, I wish I'd asked you that beforehand, but I didn't.
Poor
there we
preparation.
go. Love your shirt.
Thank you.
They did a good job of bringing those ones back in, didn't they?
They did, yes.
Yeah, club don't miss a trick, of course. No. That's why I've got my shirt on as well. Brilliant stuff. I mean, Nick, what have you made of this? I mean, where does it rank? How long have you been following this club?
67 was my first match, so 50 odd years. Probably the most enjoyable, exciting season of all, I think. And that includes the first promotion in, was it 71, 72 under Ron Saunders?
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. I think a lot of people sort of take it back to Ron Saunders and John Bond in terms of Norwich gaining a reputation for attractive football. And again, under Dave Stringer, Mike Walker, the football there, we've got a lot of plaudits as well. Yeah. So what is it that marks this different now? Because obviously very technical, but it's just delicious to watch as well.
I think the expectations were so low at the beginning of the season. When I say so low, they were low compared to perhaps other seasons. And I think what we saw from day one was just different. It was that the ability to take ball in tight areas, to the short pass and the movement. I think it was just like a flowing football. It was like watching Barcelona, and it was fantastic. You could have thought that Pep Guardiola would coach the team, and I think it was just that. Obviously, coupled with the never say die spirit, the last minute goals, the way that when we were down with a few minutes left, we didn't hump it forward to the big man. It was exceptional to watch, nerve-wracking at times, but unbelievably good to watch.
So, in your mind, this is the best football?
I think so, yeah. I think so.
In terms of your player of the season, who did you vote for?
Really put me on the spot there. Emi Buendia, if I'm honest. And just simply because I think he's probably the best footballer I've seen at Carrow for a very long time.
Who compares? Because this is the tough one.
Wes in his prime, obviously. Crikey, going back. Ian Crook, I liked Ian Crook. Different sort of player, but for me epitomised everything about the silky midfield player. Grant Holt for other reasons, obviously, big strong centre forward.
Emi likes to tackle too.
Absolutely, yeah. And then if you want to really go back, you had McDougall and Boyer. I can remember them, and again, exceptional players. But he just got that X factor.
I can't wait for next season, and how we should probably do a sweepstake on at what point the Premier League goes, oh, Emi Buendia, because it will happen. I can assure you, they will go. Oh, hello, there's a player. Nick, you a member of the Canaries Trust?
I am,
is that
yes,
the deal?
yeah.
So that's good. Nice to have a shindig. They've been pretty good to us this year.
Good. I only joined in November. Had a bit of spare time on my hands, and I love the club. I love everything to do with it. And I thought, if I can be I'd like to think a young face on the ball, but actually one of the older ones, I think, to be perfectly honest. But just bring a different approach, really.
I'll tell you what. Just fill this in. If people are watching, maybe me. They might think, well, what's the Canaries Trust? What's that about?
Essentially, it's a group to give the supporters a voice. I mean, the main priority since it began was buying shares, which are held in perpetuity for the supporters. They sort of pull together. I like to think they're the sort of the hub that pulls together all the other supporters groups. There's a regular consultation with the club. The club are very keen to talk to the trust and engage with the trust. And I think that feeling has sort of spread out into all the other supporters groups. I have to say, all of which I think have done a fantastic job. And I think because probably the club, for the first time in a long time, have really engaged with all those groups. So, yeah.
Brilliant stuff.
Everybody needs to join. It's only £12 a year.
all right,
for goodness sake,
I love it. There's a sales pitch.
Yeah.
I tell you what, just briefly then.
Yes.
Next year, what do you think? How because we've been here. We know how tough the Premier League is. It's not going to be a shock for anyone. We also know fans want the big signings. They want the expectation. They want Norwich to compete. They don't want to be rolling over on each other.
I think we just had a conversation over there, and I think. All the supporters love the fact that what Norwich did this season epitomises what Norwich is all about. We take the players, perhaps less lauded players, and we turn them into something special. And if they buy into the club, as this entire squad has seemed to do, then I think it builds an awful lot of goodwill for next season. My prediction is above the bottom 4, but below the top 6. Not giving much away there, am I?
Jesus
really?
Christ, no, that's fine. There we go, Nick. Nick, pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much.
No,
I'll let
nice
you
to
go.
be here. Thank you.
If you want to tag in with someone else, if we can get someone
I'll
in,
find you
then
someone
bring
else.
them straight back down. Because we've not got long and we've already been running and it's been such a good show and I'm knackered. But anyway, it's been quite a long week and we've got another long week ahead. Speaking of which, Norwich, of course, at Aston Villa on Sunday. Now, we did touch on it briefly, but let's have a proper chat about it. If you were an Aston Villa fan, sit yourself down, Chris.
How you doing?
Good. And you can come in on this, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
That's all right. No, thanks for having us. Hi, guys.
If you were a Villa fan, what would you want Villa to do when they're playing Norwich? Given that a few days later they're going to have a home first leg in the playoff semi-final, probably against West Brom. There's a few players there that you might want to risk. How do you see it?
Well, if I was a Villa fan, I'd obviously like to go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum. Obviously, for them last weekend against Leeds was a little bit of a second point, given the circumstances of obviously what happened on the pitch with Leeds' goal. But obviously, I know some fans will probably want to go into it with a little bit of momentum, get a win against the leaders. You're right on course for that. But at the same time, you'd probably want to rest his key players. I think Dean Smith said he's planning on resting John McGinn because of the suspensions he has potentially lying over his head, and I think that could play into Norwich's favour in many ways. But at the same time, obviously, from a Villa point of view, it could possibly down the sort of momentum that they have been building up in the last few weeks with the form they've had.
I mean, it's brilliant from our point of view because we're all going, do that, rest them, don't bother. It doesn't mean anything to you. Why would you even bother try? Give us the point, because we obviously want the point. But what do you reckon, Jim?
Well, I think what this championship campaign has showed is that there are no gimmies in any game. I mean, you looked at some of the fixtures Norwich had, and you thought, you're going to go there, you're going to turn them over, you're going to roll them over. But it's just not like that. And obviously Norwich are there now as the leaders of the division, and that's going to give Aston Villa a certain impetus to want to say, well, look, this is where we should be. But you're right about, in the back of the player's mind and the coach's mind, there is going to be about how important that playoff campaign is going to be, and injuries and suspensions are all going to come into play. But Villa would probably take a point, and so would we, I think.
Indeed, and this, of course, Sheffield United might not do the business. But what do you reckon, Chris? It's a tricky situation for them, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I think, personally, I think if you're Villa, then I think you'd probably want to keep that momentum going, probably play your strongest side, but then you're obviously going to have one eye on the playoffs as well, because that's massive for them. So I think if you're Villa, I think they'd want to sort of keep that momentum going. They're on the back of a good run at the moment, and I think the players would probably want to keep playing as well, and sort of show that they're ready for the playoffs, so.
I mean, it's going to be, I think it's a sellout, isn't it? Villa Park on Sunday, 41,000. I mean, it's going to be quite the occasion, really, isn't it? And Norwich deserve the title, don't they? When we distill it all, I mean, Sheffield United have been top 2 game weeks of the season. Norwich and Leeds both been 20 each.
I think we do, yeah. I mean,
it does mean that Leeds probably should have finished in the top 2, doesn't it? Really?
Sorry, we've been unbelievable all year, but I mean, it's been a great race as well. I mean, fair play to Leeds, Sheffield, Sheffield United as well over recent weeks have been relentless. So, but yeah, I think over the course of the last 45 games, we've been awesome, and the lads have deserved nothing less than to win the league, I think. And yeah, obviously a tough place to go, Villa Park, but there's no reason why I don't think we can go and get the point that we need.
Yeah, point would be good. I wouldn't want to rely on a win because I can't remember the last time Norwich won there. It was probably 93,
tough
to be honest. Give a think about your hero of the season, Norwich City hero of the season, and your moment of the season. I'm going to have a look through some messages, if I may. Just on Periscope, TB Les, let's call him that. He's been on touch. Tell Kieran he looks better than the Sonic in the new movie. Happy with that?
I'll take that as a positive. I think most people would.
Exactly, absolutely. It is, isn't it? Kieran Ashton, the best moment of the season was versus Nottingham Forest game, from being 3-0 down to then score 3, which actually still seems phenomenal.
Not if you're writing a match report, it is not.
The original being filed, yeah. Absolutely nuts. What else have we got here on Facebook? There's some good ones here, I think. I hope I won't say things I've already said. John Gosling, moment of the season, stuffing Leeds. What's with this? The Leeds obsession. I don't understand it. Edward Ivans, moment of the season was us drawing with Ipswich. That was when things started to turn around. Can't wait for Sunday to go to Villa and win the League Cup 2. Or the Championship Trophy. That's what you mean, isn't it, Edwin? Absolutely. Wendy Little, everyone are heroes. The team, staff, even the groundsman, all at PinkUn. You're all heroes for all the hard work and long hours, thank you. I mean, Wendy, we just talk about it, but I would definitely take the kudos. Certainly the groundsman. I think Stuart Webber the other day actually said that without the pitch, they wouldn't have won games like against Millwall, and they did spend £1 million on it, so at least they're going to get that money back over the course of the summer. And here we go. Let's have a look at some more of these on YouTube. Thank you for so many messages, by the way. I'm trying to get through as many of them as possible. Canaries, Cardiff away in the Cup. Had I said that one? I think I'd said that one, hadn't I? Which was spot on. Bad lad, you know it's Leany. Sorry, Sophie. Leany. Definitely not Lenny. Sorry, Sophie. Lenny. Anyway, Pookie, have my children up the notch. That's a good, strong YouTube commenting name, that one. Dan liked that one. I do read them before I read them out, by the way. Canaries, what odds Jamal Lewis scores our first Premier League goal next season? I think probably long, given he's the only one not to score a championship goal this season, but he is trying by all accounts. J Quick 12, best promotion this season because Lambert has ruined his own legacy, in my opinion. Glad the town are going down and the city are on the up. Going up, you're going down. I think point Wade there, Mr. Quick, well said. Maureen and John White, hello Maureen, and of course to you, John. Hope Webber stays with us to the end of our Premiership. Well, when will the Premiership end, I guess is the question there. We will see. Jim, stop it. None of that stuff. Jay Quick throws in a Norwich 2, Villa 0 prediction, and Vrancic to bang another free kick in. Rose to come in and score. Rose was brilliant against them in October. By the way, goal of the season, that goal he scored in October, all the passes. And Vrancic, of course, scoring 2 amazing free kicks and missing a penalty, which has been a theme. Luke Cubbage broke a few fans' 1,000 pairs of glasses in the River End celebrating the Forest equaliser. Definitely a moment of the season. Luke, I hope they didn't bill you for those. And Bradley Jones, Millwall at home for sure. So many of them. Yours, Chris?
Yeah, it is a tough one. Just like you say, there's so many. But no, I think the one there you just mentioned, the Forest late equaliser when we were 3-0 down. Look back afterwards as well, see Jeff Stelling's reaction on Sky about it. That was incredible. But yeah, we were written off in that game, and to come back and get a valuable point, it just sums up how our lads just have that never say die attitude, and it was that was such a special moment. It's similar to the time we got that last minute winner against Derby all those years ago, back in the Lambert days. I think it had that same sort of significance, and for me, I'd probably say that one. Yeah. But there's been so many.
There has been so many. It's remarkable to think that the last time Norwich City lost at Carrow Road was the end of 2018. And it was Derby, and it took the floodlights to go off. They'd have won that game probably if the floodlights hadn't have gone off.
I think I did remember reading a stat that there was the amount of games that teams had lost since January, and I think it was something like Real Madrid 3, Barcelona 3, and then it was Norwich at the top of them with only 1 defeat. Isn't it?
1 defeat.
Obviously, completely different level, but it's just that ability to grind out a result. And I know we've had a lot of draws, but it's about momentum, isn't it? As you said, to just keep those things going, and let's hope that we can get plenty of that at the start of next season, maybe.
Hopefully someone's sobering them up. We are done. I think we are done here. That is it for this week's PinkUn Show. Remember, you can catch up with tonight's edition across all our superb Norwich City coverage. It's all there as well across all our platforms, including our PinkUn app, but first and foremost PinkUn.com. The show is also available as a podcast each week. For details and to subscribe, visit PinkUn.com/podcast. I will be at Villa Park, of course, on Sunday. Probably not in this shirt, but well, maybe, why not? Of course, that'll be alongside Paddy Davitt and Dave. I won't get Paddy in this shirt. I might get Dave in it. And Dave's here, isn't he? We haven't even spoken to Dave. Dave Freeze is over in the background, by the way. You probably can't make. Can we see him? Probably not. I keep making these two work because normally they just sit there laughing to themselves. But there we go. So Dave's here. He's having a good chinwag. And maybe he'll wear this shirt. Anyway, we'll all be there to round off the season. So make sure you check out our big build-up, team news, live reaction, behind-the-scenes coverage, analysis, and whatever else, of course, we get after the full-time whistle. And as always, if you see any of us around, please say hello. We will be back next Wednesday. Not really sure exactly where yet, but it will be the usual time, around 6 p.m. In the meantime, a big thank you to our guests tonight. Chris, thank you, Chris.
No, thanks,
to Martin and to Nick and the Canaries Trust guys for joining us. Much appreciated.
No, thanks a lot.
Especially to Jim and to Kieran, the Norfolk Sonic. Thank you so much, gents. Enjoyed it. Jim, enjoy it?
Yes. It's always great to to sit around and get some Norwich chat, and I'm sure next season that there's going to be plenty more interest from everyone really on hopefully what's going to be a real positive campaign again.
Yeah. Well said indeed. Thanks, Kieran. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's been an experience because I've never done any sort of Norwich City related thing before, so this was my first experience of it. And yeah, bring on Villa Park on Saturday. I know that away end is going to be absolutely bouncing, supporting the boys from minute one, and hopefully they'll be coming back from Villa Park with the trophies parade around on Monday.
Well said. And Kieran, you did brilliantly. It was so wonderful having you on, and we'll definitely do it again. Thank you so much. Of course, a big thank you to the Departure Lounge for being such a wonderful host, and the Canaries Trust for letting us take over their promotion party. I think they're about to crack open all the champagne and just rank up the music to 11 or so. To the crew, even them, to producer Tony and Dan, director Dan, who doesn't even boo Ipswich Town anymore. And of course, you guys and girls for watching, getting involved, sending so many messages. We couldn't do it without you, and to be honest, we probably wouldn't either. Until next time, here's to Norwich getting exactly what they deserve, that being the championship title. Good night.